800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Monday. We've got one more Monday where the debt ceiling will probably still be going on. If we get to the following Monday, that's when things will start to get interesting. But a quick look here at the markets. The Dow is down today, down 70 points. The S&P is flat. The Nasdaq's up 60. Gold's down 5. Silver's down 25 cents. This market recap brought to you by our friends at Y-Refi. Guess what else? You know, we talk about where to put money. Gold and silver with Joey at Northwestern Mutual. Our good friends over at Y-Refi. Their stuff's not correlated to Wall Street. They don't care about the debt ceiling. They don't care about Neil Kashkari and saying, hey, more banks are going to fail. And, oh, by the way, just because we pause in June doesn't mean that we're not raising rates. You can get up to 10.25% returns. You know the drill. You got to have at least $50,000 to invest. You can use an existing IRA. Some of you can even use a 401k. Listen, just reach out to them. Check it out for yourself. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24. 888-Y-REFI-24. And Jason, you know, we briefly, we had a big flash crash hit the markets as a now what they're saying, a fake image was posted. I don't know if it started on Twitter, on one of the social media platforms, that there was an explosion near the Pentagon earlier this morning. It was kind of funny because all of a sudden the stock market just dropped down. Gold shot up in the course of about 30 seconds. I think they figured out somebody was pulling the market's leg a little bit, but it's incredible what one social media post can do.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I didn't hear about that, so I don't know what happens, but it sure sounds like an overreaction happened. I mean, you want to react, I guess, but knee-jerk reactions, you got to be careful. I mean, even in the fake fraudulent markets the way they are, you don't want to just panic, right? I mean, holy cow! I mean, that's how weak it is, really.
Right? Yeah, that's the suddenly. Yeah, I think that's it, right? That's how weak it is, because they know, hey, any misstep. You know, I liken it right now. What they're trying to do, what the Fed and the markets and the banks are trying to do, is walk through a minefield. And the problem is, the map that they have of where the mines are isn't accurate. And any one misstep, and you can see and are going to see a very, very violent reaction. That's why guys like Bubba Horowitz are saying, hey, listen, I think the S&P is going to be below 2,000. The S&P is like 4,100. Right? The Dow, 33,000 plus. Hey, it's going to be below 20,000. These are things. Stan Druckenmiller. Hey, 10 years from today, stocks will not be as high as where they are now. These are statements that I think a lot of them feel like because they know they're like, yeah, they're trying to tiptoe through the minefield, and they got the wrong map, Jason. The map that they have isn't accurate, and it's just a matter of if. It's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. When do they make the wrong step and cause the next leg down, the next chain reaction? And here's the good thing. Here's what I love. People are much smarter this time around versus where they were in 07 and 08. Every week now, more and more money keeps coming out of the banking system, and that's just really another sign that the Federal Reserve is losing the confidence not only of the American public. We know about the other central banks because they're all buying gold, all of them. I mean, think about the London Metals Exchange, the lowest amount of stock, silver and gold stocks ever, since they've been writing it down anyway. They've never had less stock available, less inventory available, and most of the inventory they say is available really isn't, and I won't go into, that's a different show. But Jason, I think this is one of those things where a lot of people are going to be very, very surprised at how quickly things can change and how quickly the debt markets can collapse and how quickly the metals market can rise.
You know, one thing about the markets, Joe, is I haven't looked recently about these. You know, we always talk about the three big companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, how they own a little bit of seemingly everything that's out there. And it makes me wonder, how low can the markets go if these gigantic owners of the stock market don't sell? That's the one thing. So, I mean, if a stock market goes down, let's say 40%, but the gigantic owners, like the Bank of Japan, the government of Japan, they own like 10% or something like that, some huge amount of the entire Japanese stock market. And if those guys don't sell, you can only crash it so far. So what it really means is the percentage of the stock market that's not owned by these conglomerate huge companies and government entities. If a 20% stock market crash happens, is that like half of everybody else selling out? I mean, if you think about it, Joe, right? If you have these huge conglomerate companies, or would you say they're not allowed to sell all their stock? So when you have a 20% decline in the stock, is that kind of like a 50% stock market crash? I mean, if you think about it, Joe, it seems to be owned by these huge, massive conglomerates, huge amounts of this whole market. And to me, the stock market going sideways for the last 3 years now, actually two plus years, it shows a lot of stress in the stock market. I think it shows tremendously more than if you were talking like the 80s or the 90s or further back, Joe.
Well, when you think about the amount of debt that was created, boy, Wall Street should have done better, right? There's no doubt. Wall Street should have done better. The Fed's balance sheet went from $4 trillion to $9 trillion. Right? People forget this. The debt, I don't know where the debt was 3 years ago, but it was it 25 trillion, 26 trillion, 27 trillion? Now we're talking about, hey, it's going to be 32 trillion in change whenever they pass the debt ceiling. I mean, Wall Street should have been much farther along. And again, that just shows the stress signs. When we get back, I've got a little gold item, a new item we haven't run in a long time. And I've got a few half dollars left from Friday, but not very many. All that coming up next. $800-951-0592. Joe and Jason on this Monday. Yet Friday we were running the silver half dollars, the rolls of silver halves. So we had like 300 or 2.5 bags worth. We're down to half of a bag. So we've got 50 rolls left, which really I was surprised at because what a great price. $250 a roll. That means you're buying silver half dollars, pre-1965 silver half dollars at the same price that you're buying the dimes and the quarters, the silver dimes and quarters. And that just never happens. So I got 50 rolls of that left. But then today's gold special, this one, it's just awesome. Because A, we never get them. They never have them in quantities, especially on probably the last 3 years. Maybe we've run them once, maybe. I don't know. Jason, maybe you'll know, but I've got 200, you heard me right, 200 $10 Indians. So now remember, the Saints and the Indians replaced the Liberties, right? Remember, Teddy Roosevelt, the Liberties, 1866 to 1907, right? The Indians in '08, the Saints in '08, right up till gold confiscation in 1933. The liberties weren't majestic enough. The United States was a big superpower now, and we needed coins that looked more majestic, and that's where Augustus St. Gaudens, the artist, he is the one that designed the St. Gaudens and the $10 Indian. Bella Pratt did the other Indians. The $10 Indian, it is the Lady Liberty with the Indian headdress on. This coin probably couldn't be made today, Jason, right? Because that would be racist, right? I'm pretty sure that somehow that would be a racist type coin and it'd be offensive to people. But the $10 Indian, $1,280 is the everyday price today. I've got these at $80 off. It's incredible. Hey, I'm not going to argue with it. Who cares why? They're at $1,200. I mean, they're literally almost right there with a $20 gold piece. Two $10 Indians, almost the same as a $20 gold piece. And trust me when I tell you, this doesn't happen because the Indians, they didn't get made that many years. So remember the original, I'll call it the original COVID, right? The old Spanish flu. They thought that the Indians carried the Spanish flu. And primarily the $5 Indian, the $2.50 Indians, they actually engraved into the coins. They called it an infused design. And they thought in the crevices that the Spanish flu resided there. Well, they got rid of all Indians. So the Indians were minted 08 to 1916. Then they stopped minting them. And then the $10 Indian, it got minted in 1920. And then 1926, 1930, and 1932. They did mint some in 33. They all got melted down. So the $10 Indian, Jason, was only minted for 12 years. So this is why the Indians, first of all, I guess a cooler looking design, but the reason that they really have the higher premiums is because they minted so few of them.
That's correct. We don't do a lot of numismatic type coins. This is not numismatic. We keep it close to the gold price as possible. If we were doing numismatic coins, we can sell all kinds of rare coins, but we try to keep it as close to the gold price as possible. And so these are what we call it a half an ounce of numismatic value, right, Joe? There's a little bit there, just because there's not as many. They were minted from just those few decades, and not even all the years, like you mentioned. And so if you can get them anywhere close to the price of the $10 Liberty, then you're way ahead, which is the coin that we would normally sell for the half ounce gold pre-33 coin. So anytime you can get anywhere in the neighborhood of the $10 Liberty, then you just buy the Indians. And you're right, it's been few and far between. I think since 2020 we've only had these like 2 or 3 times, and most of it was back in 2020.
And we were like, hey, I got 50. This one I actually have a great amount. We got 200 of them. Just to think about this morning, it was $120 more for the $10 Indian than it was for the $10 Liberty. With this special, it's only $40. So you're going to pick up here. This is great value because that $10 Indian, normally it's $100, $120, $130, $150 more than a $10 Liberty. And today you're able to buy it for only $40 more. That's really good value. 800-951-0592. The $10 Indian. That is the Lady Liberty, wearing her Indian headdress, and then rolls of silver $50 until we run out. I got 50 rolls of silver $50 as well at $250. So great value all over the board today. 800-951-0592. And it's just cool to see, it's a really cool piece of our nation's history, and because it really signified a couple of things. Number one, the United States became a superpower on the gold standard. Let's not kid ourselves. That's number one. Number two, obviously with COVID so recently here, hey, I guess here was the original COVID coin, the Indians, and being able to pick up a piece of history here. The $10 Indians at $1,200, rolls of silver half dollars at $250. 800-951-0592. Jason and I will be right back. $800-951-0592. Final segment here on this Monday Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, $10 Indians. I'm super pumped. If you haven't gotten the Indians before, buy some because they're cool. They're my favorite coin. When I talk about the coins that are my favorite, the Indians are it for me. Just because I love the design, I love the history. I think it's honoring our history, but somehow, people probably today think otherwise. The fact that they minted so few of them, and the vast majority ended up being melted down, and to be able to buy it this close to the $10 Liberty, it's a great opportunity. $10 Indians at $1,200. I mean, heck, $10 Liberties 10 days ago were like $1,225. I mean, again, I think this is just a huge opportunity on this pullback that we had. Of course, obviously had that big rally on Friday, but still, buying gold here below 2,000 is a great opportunity. And then, of course, whatever's left on those silver half dollar rolls. Already go online. Silver they're back to 265. So hey, they're only at 250. Take advantage of both of these opportunities at 800-951-0592. Gold's down 5 at 1975. Silver at 2370. The Dow is down today as the debt ceiling talks broke down over the weekend, blah, 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 blah. And Jason, there's conflicting as to the exact day the Treasury runs out of money, as early as June 1st. I think Goldman Sachs said June 8th today. It's somewhere in a couple of weeks. Let's just say somewhere in a couple of weeks. And why do I get, here's something they don't say. They can just extend it another 30 days. Right? I mean, they don't have to come up with the solution, right? Oh, well, you know what? We can't figure it out. Let's go another 30 days. And they can keep this debt ceiling crap up for months if they want to.
Yeah, let's see what happens. You keep raising the debt ceiling until the time where you just don't. And a default is somewhere in this country's history. It's not like if they're going to default. They've already defaulted. They called it something else. They defaulted. So it will happen, whether it be the debt ceiling or some other situation where they just gloss over it. But it's going to happen. So I still think there's this chance that maybe they're just not going to resolve this, and that's a part of what they want to happen, not because they can't do anything about it, because they want it to happen. The Fed wants these banks to go away, Joe. At some point, they won't say it out loud. They want these banks to go away, and this is a great way to just smash these banks.
Well, I'll say this. Remember in 1933 when they took the gold away? Every contract that was written up until that point was redeemable in gold. They took all of that out. That's a default. And I think Jason's right. We're going to get it again. All these contracts that say Federal Reserve notes, they're now going to say digital currency, right? And Federal Reserve notes will be taken away. And, of course, we knew what happened. Remember what happened in 33. $20 went to $35 overnight. $20 went to $35 overnight. And what I mean by that is, of course, your money got devalued by 70%. That's what happened. Right? Because that $20 gold piece you were no longer allowed to own all of a sudden was worth $35. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, we're coming right back with the Half Empty Cup.